Hello, I am live. Thank God. I just got a message from the engineer who come to fix my internet and say that it's done. Cause like I called him earlier saying like I'm live at 4, so can you please make sure that because like when they're testing stuff they may cut off your internet. So I tell him, please don't cut off my internet during that time. And he was like, okay, I'll fix it before 4. So I just got a message from him. So hope that it works fine this time. If not, I'm totally like just gotta change my service provider um, for good. But sorry about that because last week was a disaster. It got cut off, and it also happened this Wednesday when I was streaming for the Meet Me Pie. That's like half of the fault of my computer because it just completely broke down and it's just like burn out. But hopefully I'm still doing okay. I would upgrade my setting. Thanks for Terminus TV. That I'll upgrade my setting soon. So hopefully I can provide more quality videos. Try to upgrade everything to teach more stuff. I'm also going to teach Python this Sunday. Actually, every Sunday at 1. So yeah, and I'm also thinking about maybe doing some educational stuff for kids, but that's to be confirmed. I'm so busy already. But yeah, so last week we unfortunately we got cut off when I was building the schema, but it's more or less like what we can do within an hour because I did a lot of introduction and a lot of explanation as well. So that was brief. So if you haven't tried Terminus DB, I would hope that you have downloaded. Just it's very easy. You can go to our GitHub repo, or you can yeah put using Docker. We are also building the binary, so in the future you can just install it like locally in your OS without the Docker. Um, yeah, so that's the update. So what I've done, actually, I should maybe put the code in the repo, which I'm horrible at doing. But yeah, but actually you can get. I think this code is already in our tutorial repo. So if you go to GitHub, actually, if I can show it in those tiny windows, actually where the code is sitting. So if you go to GitHub and terminus DB, so yeah, you'll see that we actually do have a tutorial repo. So I would recommend you check it out because we also got some other tutorials that is more for um, beginners. I think actually it's like maybe it's better to check that out before going into this because this one we are building with the schema.org schema, which is a more complicated stuff. So yeah, if you haven't used Terminus DB before, I would definitely recommend check out this tutorial, and the bike tutorial will be a good one to start with. We also have a blog post that is these tutorials to teach you how to do it. I also recorded some videos before at the Terminus DB YouTube channel that is also a step-by-step guide to get you started. So that would be a very good first tutorial to do. I'm also writing documentation slowly. So after that, you would find lots of beginners tutorials and other form of tutorials there as well. So it will be a central hub for you to find all the resources. But right now, I think the best place to go is this repo and our blog. So you can see that we have the schema.org, not Shasha tutorial, schema.org is also here. So this will contain the finished code that we have for this series of streaming that we are building the same code that is already there. So if you want to catch up, you can go there to see the code there. Um, so I gotta also give you a brief recap of what we have done last week. So if you go to my OD, my yeah my sorry, I am trying to open the dashboard so I can see your chat. Yeah, it will be better when I have another setup so I can use my other computer to monitor the chat. But right now I have to use my phone, which is not very good because I can't really see stuff. Yeah, it's very clunky to use as well. I don't like using my phone; it's super small. But hopefully I can see what's going on in the chat. Yeah, right. Okay, it's not loading because my a side note. So I have internet problem recently, and I also have no signal with my phone, my 4G. So yeah, if I have no Wi-Fi, then I'm just like it's in a desert island. I'm like totally quarantined, like for everything. So yeah, bear with me a little bit. I'll give you an introduction of what we have done last week, but just let me open the chat so I can see if there's any questions in the chat. So yeah, if you have questions, you can definitely type in the chat. So I am in the chat room now. I'm monitoring it, even though I look like I'm looking at my phone, but actually it's for the chat. So okay, I have my chat. I have everything. Okay, whew, good. So yeah, let's come back to the code. So this is what we have done last week. So according to schema.org, we download two CSV. So one of them is showing all the different types of schema that you can have. Like for example, they could be things like, for example, you have an event, so you can have an event object, and then you can have venue, you can have a date, and then it just kind of describe all this information in your website. Uh, they have it because for lots of things like search engine or e-commerce, actually it's very useful because they can have a structured information about the website rather than just a bunch of soup of HTML, which is super difficult to find because different websites will have a different layout, right? So it's not unified. So what they do is like they have this unified schema for all the websites. So for example, search engine like Google, then when they read these tags, then they know that, oh, this is about an event. So Google can put a little of like little card that is show all the events, when, where's the venue, and all this stuff. So which is useful and which is good as well. You should already have it in your website if you have one. Um, so we are playing around with it. So we are using Terminus DB. We have already, like, I just get it running because I restart my Docker as well. It's a disaster, and I have to pull the image again. So now it's running, but I don't have this in yet, so I gotta run it with you. What we have done. So this is just very basic. We have a function that we would create as a schema object that we'll build using, we'll read the CSV, and then for each row of it, we'll get the ID of that row, that which will make it into a ID for that object, for that document, and then in the CSV there's also, like, for each row there will be a label and a description. It's a comment. It's not called description, but we call it description. So we just put that in. So you can see in the code here, this one in the middle. So you see that we construct that object. So this one we'll put it in a apply. So this is pandas data frame apply. So we will apply this function to each row of the data of the CSV. So, and then after that we would this will return. So result actually is a Woql query object. So we will save this object because we have to execute them later. So we have to save the object at the end. So we will save it in this new column. So yeah, we have created it, and then yeah, you can see that we have written this. So we haven't done the property yet. So property is very similar, but they are mainly of describing the properties of these types. So you can see as if like these are objects, these types are objects, and then you can have different properties of it. So these properties, some of them are another object because, for example, an event can have a venue. So a venue will be an object, but it's also a property of the event. And some of them are more simple stuff like just pure text or numbers or a date. It's not a specific object, it's more like a data type. So that's two type of properties that could be a property. So this is the main operation here. So we would from the Python client library, we would have we'll create a client. We'll connect the client to our server. We will provide a URL and a key. So this, I'm running the Docker, so it's like it will be localhost 6363. This is if you use Docker, it will be the same. And because it's a Docker, so it's a default. So the default of the key will be just root. So this is it. And after we have connected, we can do all kind of operation. This is for if we run the code multiple times. So each time I'll delete and create a new one. It's because I said I just restarted everything, so I don't have it now. So I would just comment it out. Otherwise, it will give me an error. So and then we just want to create a database. So that's it. We haven't actually you know put this schema in as well. So which is not something we want to do. So first thing first, I want to create a database and then create a schema. So what I gotta do is that here I gotta add in client dot execute, if I remember correctly. Yes, or we can write in a separate function, but I think that we don't have to care about that too much at the moment. So what I gotta do, actually I gotta execute all these one by one, right? So it should be another apply. So let's do it like this, right? So this one, let's say I want to create schema. It's actually super difficult for you to see because this is a comment, but I want to create schema for types, right? So this is, I gotta actually execute it. So I would apply. So actually I need to write a function and then again access to equals to 1. So let's write that function right now. So here I would just define um what should I call them? Just like create schema object. I would call this actually so this should be different, right? This is construct schema object. So this is just construction. Sorry. Yeah, naming is the most difficult thing in programming, in my opinion. Yeah. So this is construct and this is create. Because we haven't like tell the database to create yet. It's just we're just constructing this the query object. So we just call it construct. So we'll just copy the name because I'm super lazy. Yeah, not thunder. It's just one. Okay. So what I gotta do is I gotta tell the database to. So I need a client as well. So what I gotta do is that I gotta tell the client to. No, actually I need to execute the query. So this shouldn't be a series. It should be a query. So or what I can do is I can just call. So let me think about what's the best way to do. So I think what I want to do is that I just want to put in the query here because this one I just go through all the rows and because I'm taking multiple columns, so that's why I am taking each row as a series. But this one I think I just need the query object at the end, right? So this is the one that we get here. So this is the query object. So we just want a list of query objects. So I'll just call it maybe queries. So I will have a client, I have a query. So then I can tell the query object to execute itself and send it to the client and send it to the database. So this is what I gotta do. Okay. Mm. Now, so let's just tell like return query. Oh, actually, like I want to construct a new query. Sorry. So it's like result. So it's like the result query. So what I'm going to do here is I take all these queries and then I don't want to send to the database one by one because it's not effective because there will be a lot of API calls, which is not as good as wrapping everything up in one API call and just send one. So instead of firing them one by one, I would just take all these queries and then I will wrap it up with a Woql and to execute it. So we'd have a Woql query object. So let's create a new Woql query object here. And I would use because when I execute something, when I update the database, so I need to use there's actually two main type of queries. One is that you want to update your schema, right? You want to load things in, delete things, or you just want to update the information. So for those kind of query, you need to have a Woql when, because it will check whether the condition is correct before it got executed. So usually it's useful when you load in the data, you want to make sure the data exists before you execute the update of the data or insert the data or any operation. So um, here we just, you just have to trust me that it exists, right? So I'll just tell it like, when true, just do it anyway, trust me. Rather than checking whether this exists or whether it's okay. We just assume that it's okay because like it's a Python script that is written by me and I trust myself. So, well, I shouldn't, but but in theory I should trust myself. So it just went through. Then I gotta do something. Then I gotta send this parcel of my query. So I gotta wrap it in the Woql when. So Woql n, sorry. So Woql n is saying like, please execute all these queries all of them for me actually in parallel. It's not necessarily in series, so you can do, actually I think at the back end it is async because it's with Prolog, so it's not necessarily like synchronized, but I'm not sure. Maybe it's a good question for our next webinar that I gotta ask our BDFL, the creator of Terminus DB, about the Terminus DB internals. So if you're interested to know more about how the backend work, you can go to just follow Terminus DB at Twitter, and we will have webinar weekly for now because we're all in quarantine. So yay, we're stuck indoors, so we gotta do this webinar every week. So yeah, if you want to catch it, watch it, and get the newest announcement, the best way to do is to follow Terminus DB on Twitter. Then yeah, actually I have lots of questions to ask because I want to know how the backend works, so I can understand what actually I'm doing here. So I know what I'm doing here, like I know the result of this, but I want to know what's behind the hood. So I'm gonna put all these query in the Woql n. So it will be I hope you're familiar with Python. So what this is does, because like I gotta take this query as a list, right? So if I do if I do type hinting, it should be a list. But to make things less complicated, I'm not going to do that. But yeah, so this is what I gotta do. I gotta unpack it and put all of them in the Woql n. So yeah. So I choke on my coffee. Right. So so this is our query. We want to execute it. So you cannot return anything, but it's just like the API will return a JSON saying like everything's fine, or there's an error. So yeah, I'm just gonna return result query dot execute. I need to give a client, so I gotta pass the client in. So that's it. Let's hope it works. So let's put this back in here. So yep. Where were we? Apply. Yes. Actually, I'm not going to use apply here. Sorry about that. It's misleading. But I'm gonna just call it. I gotta pass in the client. And for the queries, I just gonna grab this, right? I gotta grab all of these. So this is a panda series. I want to make sure that it's a list, so I can do the unpacking later. I'll just turn it into a list and stuff that in. So let's see if this work. And I gonna go to my terminal. And where am I now? I'm in the tutorial. So let's see what is in here. So I'm fine. I'm in my Python environment, so it should be fine. Python build schema.py. Let's see. Oh my god, I have never tried if this worked before the stream because, as I said, the internet was not working. I just set it up a few minutes before. Not ideal, but it will change soon. Yep, there is a warning already, but that one should be because of my private version. Okay, now it's working somehow. It print all the heads as well, so that thing works. Right. So we're updating. It takes a while. You can see like this is the API that's working. So at least some of them work. At least it's like it created the database. So now it's doing the update. So it's doing the new function that we're writing. It may or may not work. okay, it prompts back, so it's like finished execution, which is a good sign. At least it doesn't, give me an error, or so it's like finished without an error, which is a good. So let's see what we have in our database. So now if I refresh it, it should have another database that we just created. Yay! Yeah, so what's inside? Please show me. And I gotta look at the schema. There is nothing here. Great, which is not what I'm expecting. Oh yeah, okay, it's fine. It just take a few seconds to load. It just scares me to death. So yeah, we successfully construct all these types as a schema in here, which is good. The first step, first success. Okay. So the next thing, let's think about what we can do about it. Because this CSV, that the type, actually they would have a different subtype. So what's gonna happen is in schema.org, something can be a subtype of something. So for example, I can't think of a good example at the moment, but sometimes they have all these structure that some of these properties can accept, more than one thing. And also, so we have to construct some supertype and subtype ourselves as well. But also in the CSV is also defined some. It's not that common. Some of them actually are subtype of the other thing. So it's kind of like a child of the parents. Like, so it's like if all right, if this is going on to happen, I will have to stop for this week and continue next week because I just got this is what I have to deal with. Like, I got on and off and on and off for like every 5 minutes, and this is not ideal for streaming. So yeah, I hope it won't happen because I don't. But otherwise, if it happened again, if I got cut off again, I just gotta stop and continue next week. Hopefully, it will work better. But I'm so sorry. This is like not something that I can control. It's like completely out of my hand. I'm trying my best to get this internet thing working, but I don't know why. Since I moved to UK, I always have this internet problem. Like I was living in Hong Kong, I never have that much problem before. Like yeah, like the place I live in last time, like not this place, my previous flat, I also got the problem. I don't know why the internet and 4G and or whatever mobile network is so bad. Broadband and mobile as well, both of them. I don't know how. This is supposed to be a developed country, so I don't understand. Um, so yeah, or maybe just my bad luck. I don't know. Right. So let's try to create the add-on. So I would just quickly do it before I got cut off again. So what I gotta do is